Welcome to my lair, also known as my living room. So, you're thinking about getting another oracle deck, or maybe it's your first. It's probably not your first. You're probably thinking of getting another one. Don't you just love getting a new deck of cards? You just sort of get this excited, tingly feeling. It's like, can't wait to get them home and rip open the box and flip through them and look at the artwork and start reading about the messages and then going through your guidebook. And oh, it's just scrumptious. It's absolutely scrumptious to get a new deck. I know I love it. I didn't choose this deck. Basically, this deck chose me. I was at my metaphysical shop. I needed to get another little Hotai Buddha for my car since I just detailed my car and I couldn't find my little traveling Buddha anywhere. I needed some more incense, which, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and light one while I'm chatting. India Temple incense. Where's the lighter? Oh, here we go. Anyway, so I was there to get a couple of other things, and I always stop and look at the cards because this particular shop that I like to go to keeps some regular decks on hand that sell well. Of course, it's a business. But they also get in new decks all the time. Different decks. I'll say different decks, not necessarily new decks. New to me. And then they have, you know, some that's, like I said, are just standard bestsellers. They kind of tried to push the David Bowie deck off on me. It was a new girl, and she didn't attuned to my energies. The David Bowie just doesn't resonate with me for whatever reason. I don't know. But when my hand was over this box, I gotta say, it was just like a magnet. I mean, I was drawn to this. It was drawn to me. So it sort of went both ways. Now what put me off was the size of the box. I mean, look at this. It's huge. I thought, my God, I hope the cards aren't that big. It's, if you have your Halloween Oracle, it's like that. Only they're actually a little bit bigger than the Halloween Oracle cards. I mean, look at this. Let's see. No, I take that back. They're exactly the same as the Halloween Oracle. I mean, they're huge. So if you have really petite hands, you may not want to invest in this deck. I only paid 24 American dollars for it. So to me, I don't have petite hands, and I don't have, you know, like gigantically enormous Amazon hands either. I just sort of have medium hands, and you can see how they fit in my hand. But I don't really mind. The size, when I got them home, I didn't care because I really got into the artwork. But even beyond, above and beyond the artwork, it's the messages. It's the clarity of the messages and how will they speak to me. That's what I'm all about. So there's 45 cards in this deck. I don't want to misquote that. I do believe there's 45 cards in this deck. And you'll get 8 pictures here on the back, so we can kind of look at. And I know that you can go online and see a lot of them. 45 cards and this luscious little guidebook. And Toni Carmine Salerno. And the book is just absolutely divine. Oh, the pages feel like they have a feel to them, almost like an aged book would. Something that's old and been sitting around in the dusty bookshelf in the back of the library for a while. They have this luscious, luscious feel to them. And they almost look tea-stained. And then one description, they have several layouts here, but one description of the card will flow into the next page. And then they don't waste any space. They just go right into the next card. And after the description of each card, there's a lovely little affirmation. It's a nice little book. Very nice little guidebook. The cards are not done in alphabetical order in the book. So don't let that put you off, though, because they are numbered. This one just happens to be Sacred Heart, which is the same as the back of the card. Can you see that? number 12. They've got their little number up here, and then they've got the name of the card, and then it's got a brief description down here. And then you find that number, corresponding number in the book, of course, you know that. So let's just get into the meat and potatoes of it, shall we? To me, it's all about the way that the cards communicate to me. They communicate their messages to me. I did one reading on this deck so far, and I got to tell you, this is one of my new favorite decks. The reading that I did was the past influence, what's going on right now, the possible future, say 6 months from now, and then a general overall outlook over the whole question and answer. And the answer I got last night was so clear-cut. I mean, it was just, there was no questioning what the cards were saying to me, and it was an amazing reading. Just a really, really terrific reading. So I love the communication. The pictures themselves are, the edges you're going to find, they're not gilded, by the way, on the edges. They're not gold embossed, and they're rounded corners. But the colors are, as you might expect, since it is Gaia, are very earthy. It's very earthy, but it's also got a lot of deep, rich jewel tones to it. So if you can kind of put earthiness and jewel tones together, that's what you're going to get here. Now some of the sketches to me, or the artwork, almost looks like what I would think of as a very impassioned, genuine, high school, young budding artist would kind of sketch out. That's just the overall impression I got. Very, I don't want to say simple, there's a lot of symbolism in it, but you don't have to look for the message. You don't have to look at all. It's right there. It's so clear-cut, so concise. It's not like a dove way up in the corner and could mean this, it could mean that. It's clear. It's right in your face. It's crystal clear. And symbolism, it just all flows. It flows from one card to the next, to the next, to the next. And just the jewel tones are like the icing on the cake. They're just absolutely beautiful. They're just tingly. Just absolutely tingly. It's a balanced deck. There's, in fact, yin yang is even in here. Talk about balance, right? There's some very positive messages, but there's also, on the other side, there are some darker elements. Not really dark, but they're balanced. It's just very well balanced. There's some introspective, reflective, like this one, for instance. This one's reflection, you know. And then you've got moonlight, the dream, healing, and peace. So you see how they just sort of it's a nice flow, and these are just interspersed after you shuffle or whatever. But then there's also some really, really intense ones. There's purification of fire and purification by water. So that's pretty in your face. There's a lot of sort of the nude goddess type theme throughout the deck. I think there's only one male figure in here. You've got the sacred earth mother, the goddess of creation, the moonlight goddess, and Gaia. Then the balanced ones, yin yang, nine of hearts, Zen garden, and harmony. They're just beautiful, aren't they? I also want to mention that the border around here, sometimes it's cream colored, sometimes it's almost blue, sometimes it's green. It just, see how that one's, I don't know if you pick it up in this light, but they're not always the same. In fact, now some of them are even looking sort of orange, so that's like a little bonus there. Got some that I totally didn't expect. You've got Ganesh, or Ganesha, amethyst, and flame tree. Isn't that amazing? I love flame tree. It's just, it's the start of something new. I mean, when a forest burns, what happens? A new forest begins. Isn't that intense? Don't you love that? Speaking of forest, you've got your enchanted forest and your tree of life. It's beautiful. Okay, so there's also Eternal Dance and Ocean of Eternal Love. So there's a couple of long-term cards in here, Eternals. And then the really positive ones, you've got Achievement, the Message, Perception. Look at this one. Liberation. Don't you love that? Sacred Journey. Intuitive Communication. We all love that. Evolution and Rising Above. Those are all like heightened, very heightened. Is there anything that I missed here? Did I go through all of them? Oh, I think I went through Moonlight. Yeah, Moonlight, Reflection. Didn't I go through these? Yeah, the Dream. I think I went through these already. Anyway, 45 cards. Very, very wonderful reading. My first experience with this was truly amazing. I mean, it was spine tingling. I can't describe it any other way. So, who would I recommend this deck to? Well, like I said, the size might put you off a little bit. I mean, compare it to, look at Wisdom of the Hidden Realms. I mean, just very quickly, look. Come on, card. Look at the difference. Look at that. I mean, it's just, this is like dwarfs this one. So, it's the size, you know, if that puts you off. But I do my readings, I don't do my readings in small places. I have my whole lair I can do my readings in. So the size doesn't put me off at all in any way, shape, or form. Also, you might think that you have to be very connected to Gaia or earthiness to connect with this deck, and it's simply not true. There's so much symbolism in here, and there's stars, and there's hearts, and there's just, put some on here backwards. Eye of Horus, and lots and lots of hearts. The nudity, if that puts you off, it's very simplistic nudity. It's almost like looking at a naked Barbie doll, you know? So it's not anything graphic by any means. You might think you'd have to be in touch with the goddess to connect with this deck. Well, Hidden Gift is male, actually. So the female aspect of it, but not really. I mean, loss, grief, sadness, you know, it's not all that feminine. Anybody can feel grief and sadness, remembrance. So I feel like anybody pretty much can connect with this deck. And like I said, the messages were so clear and concise for me. I just absolutely love and recommend this deck. Okay guys, hopefully that gives you some insight into the Gaia deck. It's the Gaia Oracle, Guidance, Affirmation, Transformation. Again, it's by Toni Carmine Salerno. Don't let the huge box put you off. They're not quite as big as the actual box. And the little guidebook, whatever I do with my guidebook, I don't know what I do with it. It's just scrumptious. It's yummy. You're going to love that. It just feels so aged already. So, yeah, I just can't recommend this one enough. So, alright guys, I'm going to go back to drinking my tea and hitting on my little vape here, and I'm going to stretch out and enjoy the rest of my evening. It's a lovely, gray, drizzly, rainy evening here. We're coming into fall, so it's some of my favorite weather, so I'm just going to maybe do another card reading and enjoy my evening, and I hope that you do as well. Thanks for coming. Thanks for tuning into my channel, and as always, blessed be. Bye-bye, guys.